Everything you drop is a fucking banger.
I mean, where's the lie?
All facts. Congratulations, the album is out. That's a smash. That's a smash. That one's a smash. That one's a smash. Unholy's a bonus track. That's a show-off move, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the biggest song of the last 12 months is on deluxe bonus mode. I think it's so basic. That's so flossy.
It's pretty messed up, but had to do it.
No, I love it. I absolutely love it. Thanks for taking the time to speak. The album's out. I mean, we tried to make this happen in the exciting before the album came out.
Yes.
To get everybody, super psyched up. I actually, low key, and I don't often broadcast this because it would sort of affect my business, but I actually really like to talk to artists after the music comes out. We do a lot of talking before the music comes out. It's hard to walk that line sometimes, having heard the music, when the fans haven't heard the music, to be able to get the right information and make it comfortable for you to talk to the fans about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's much nicer for me to be able to share in the joy of the music like everyone else has, and ask you the first question, which is, how does it feel after an album comes out?
Ooh, it feels like so exciting because you've heard all the opinions of people, people's favorite songs, all of that, and it's so, the songs aren't mine anymore. They're now everyone's, which is a different outlook on everything. And but yeah, I'm so proud of this record, and I'm so proud of everyone I've worked on it with, and I really feel like it's not gotten tired on my part at all. And I'm so excited. I'm putting together the show right now. So putting together the tour.
Serious tour. I mean, amphitheaters, we're talking. This is some of the most beautiful and prestigious venues in the United States.
Yeah, I'm so excited. And I mean, that's kind of, I feel like that's what I made this album for too, is just for the tour experience.
I think about like how you're going to put your set list together, because it's not like it's all, I mean, yes, everything makes a banger, but there are heartfelt bangers as well.
Yeah.
You definitely explore some sides of your songwriting and your feelings on this record, and you do so in the most open and vulnerable way.
Thank you.
Was it challenging to get to yourself to that place where you were willing to share those sides of things? You know what I mean?
I felt like
Thousand Pieces being an obvious example.
Yeah, Thousand Pieces is one of my favorites, especially since like writing with Max has just been like such a trip. Like I love Max Martin, and just like being kind of in that room was crazy. No, it felt necessary for me. I feel like I had some really personal highs and lows kind of while Unholy was kind of taking off, and while like my life had really changed, and it wasn't all like happy and like, yay, I'm so successful now. It's also like a lot of pressure and just new things and criticism, and especially I think with Unholy being, a song that was so like for me and Sam, so like about like our identities and stuff like that. And I think so many people just like really, tried to like tear that down. So I felt very emotional while all of that was happening.
It's interesting with Unholy. I think people looked at it like it was some kind of like overt sexual statement. To me, Unholy is almost a protest song.
Yeah, I mean us too. I mean that's how we felt about it too. So yeah, it's interesting just how people saw that and saw us kind of celebrating, our kind of, what we had to like overcome to like be ourselves.
Be who you are.
Yeah.
You and Sam know each other. You understand each other like you do your friends within your community that are being unapologetically yourselves, and yet society still expects apologies if they don't understand something across the board. It's one of the most bizarre parts of our humanity, and holds us back in a huge way from evolving to a necessary place to go forward.
Yeah,
so
I think so too.
What have you learned from the Unholy experience, to your point of standing in the middle of a typhoon where one side is success and the other side is this kind of criticism? What did you learn about where society or where people or humanity are right now in terms of the kind of conversation you want to have versus the conversations that they don't want to have?
I think what I've learned is that people are just, people are going to assume whatever they want to assume, and you can't control that. And people are scared of what they don't know. And I think for me, something that I just like genuinely always felt is like, I want to learn about different experiences. I want to accept them. I wish everyone to find a way to make it through life and be happy however they want to make it, and to be less judgmental. Especially, seeing Sam and like the things that people had to say about Sam just made me sad as a friend.
Same.
And someone who just like loves music and is such a talent and such a light.
And they're so brave as well. Sam 100% is unafraid to defend their right to be themselves.
Yes. Which I also, which I find inspiring for me. And so, but it really also reminded me of just like my life, when I was a kid, it was like, you're wrong and we need to try to fix you. And like, what can we put you on? Or, it was kind of like, something about you is wrong and we need to fix you.
Who was saying that, Kim?
I mean, from psychologists to like mental hospitals to like doctors and all of that stuff, because I knew so young that was like my childhood was all like mental hospitals. And so there, I found a way to make it in my life so I can live with myself and be happy. And I think that's something that people should be happy for you for. But it just reminded me of that, like I remember my grandparents saying like, well, cool that you're, like great that you like found what you're going to do, but you're going to go to hell now. Like I remember like things like that. And it's just, I know Sam grew up around that same kind of thing where it's like, okay, by being myself, I'm now something evil and something that, shouldn't exist. And so I think just the Grammy performance and Unholy, it was all just like kind of, reminding us of that and what people told us and that feeling of that.
That's tough. That's tough. I think thank you for sharing that. I mean, I think that's beautifully described for people that perhaps don't understand that success can actually bring up a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
Getting what you want can often be take you to the closest place of what it felt like when you were at your lowest point.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a mixture of that, it's highs and lows. And I'm so grateful for the highs, like we won a Grammy, which is crazy. And something like I'll never forget. But also it just like kind of reassured me in my I just need to make the music and everything else is up to you. And in general, what I know about myself is that I'm just trying to be like, I found how to be myself and I want the same for you. I'm not trying to tell anyone how to be. However you are and however you make it through life is valid and is great. But I think a lot of people were like, oh, they're pushing this agenda and trying to make people you can't make people something they're not. And so I just like kind of found, kind of feel like I got stronger in my point and in myself of like, I want to inspire you to find yourself and be yourself. And I not trying to push you to be anything or be like me,
It's so beautifully described and really highlights the fact that you are coming from a place of generosity, really allowing others to exist in their life, just allow me the space to do the same.
Yeah.
And yet that almost makes the other side of the conversation angrier and louder and more frustrated and more fearful.
For sure.
And they keep throwing these terms around which are going to get us nowhere fast. In fact, they're taking us backwards fast.
Yeah.
Which is like, almost like you have a choice. And, because we're having what I consider to be a really important and lovely conversation about this, a human conversation about this.
Yeah.
When people say things like that, either to your face or in the media, or they say, it's a choice or whatever. Can you try to find the words to describe the feeling that is the opposite of that when you're a child and you know that you have work to do and a journey to go on in order to find your true self, and that it's not a product of your imagination or a choice or something that you created as an artificial form of value, that it's deep within you. So that if someone's listening to this and they still say that, they might get a little bit closer to understanding that it's no more of a choice for you than it is for anyone else to breathe and walk in their shoes. Yeah,
well, it's alienating, like I think the first few experiences I've had with people trying to communicate with them were very alienating, and I could talk to my family about it. I was knew from a very young age exactly, who I was inside, and just it kind of from the first few meetings and psychologists and trying to, you know, get to the bottom of it, it was kind of like, just like, oh, you know, just make your kid live as what your kid doesn't feel like, you know, they are. And so, yeah, it was just people didn't believe me, and people, you know, thought I was crazy for it. And so I feel like that's very rooted in me. And like, I think that's why music made me feel like I have the same feelings and emotions as everyone else. And when I listened to music, it was very like, oh, you know, maybe I am just like everyone else. And but yeah, it was definitely just trying to be forced to forget this idea that I had of myself.
Like it's an idea. Like it's an idea.
Like it's an idea. Yeah. And it's not. It's just I've personally always known it, and everyone has their own journey of getting to know themselves, and that's beautiful, you know. But yeah, it felt very similar to that, you know, what everyone kind of on the political and like, you know, it got so political too about just like me being myself. And
well, fear
I'm
is
just trying to make music, you know?
Yeah. But also fear is born out of politics, and politics goes searching for fear, because the truth is that's how we create control mechanisms to herd large groups of people into one way of thinking, which makes it easier ultimately to make money.
Yeah, for sure.
It's really just
so
ultimately
sad.
about money. I mean, I'm sorry, it kind of is. It just all comes back to have and have not, right? And who can get ahead fastest. You are 100% winning your own side of the conversation by being the artist that you had always, and being yourself. And history will prove that to be the case. And pop music has, man, did pop music show up for you?
Yeah, which is so incredible. I mean, Madonna and Sam and Nicki, and I'm so, you know, over the moon of just like how special it's been and how like accepted I feel in that world.
Well, because
you know?
pop music, and I was talking about this with you, about Nicki, and about how Nicki's identity, the way that she plays around and creates her identity, no one can say that Roman's any different to Nicki and Nicki's any different to this person, and Barbie, and the whole thing, and the way she plays. It's all who she chooses to be at that moment in time. And that's one of the beautiful things about things like pop music, is it allows you to subvert. You know, David Bowie, one of the great chameleons of the artistic era of humanity, chose how he chose to want to go, and you can never tell him that he was playing a role. Yeah. This is who he is in that moment in time. Totally. So in a way, it's the perfect job for someone who wants to be able to live with freedom.
Yeah, for sure. And I definitely get that, you know, and that's so exciting for me. And I feel like, especially with this album, Feed the Beast, it's like I really just explore all the sides of myself, and it's all over the place, and it's not just tied down to one thing, and but it's like all of me is in there. So and I feel like it just makes for a really fun experience all the way through, because it takes you through the highs and the lows.
Really
and that kind of, that's what I wanted to do, because like that's what kind of like success, and everyone being like, well, you got everything, you want it now.
Why do we say that to each other? Why when someone's successful do we turn around and go, it's almost like an accusation, well, you've got everything you wanted now. And it's like, but I didn't really know I wanted that. I just wanted to keep going. Yeah,
for sure. Like I just want to keep doing this, for sure. That there's no like one goal that's like, the goal is the journey. The goal is to always make music, always evolve, always find new things to talk about, find new sonic worlds and all of that. You know, I want to do this forever, but you know, it's great, but with that just comes a lot of stuff to work through.
Do you think about your younger self, and if you'd had somebody in your life that you could
yeah, for sure. I mean, I think for me, like someone like Madonna, who really broke down kind of gender barriers and things like that. And I think like had conversation about, you know, gender and, you know, homosexuality and the LGBTQ community. Like that was someone
and religion and faith playing a through line in all of that.
Absolutely.
At a time when America was just trying to figure out like how to make religion colorful, how to put some color into religion, right? And then here she is, and she's just like, oh, we can go way further than that.
For sure. So that was someone who inspired me as a kid a lot to just be myself.
What was that first meeting like?
insane. She came to the SNL after party, and I just
my
talked off her ear about how much I love her music.
Did
and
you
it
see
was
her across
so
the room when
special.
she walked in?
Yes.
Did your stomach go inside out?
Yes.
Isn't that the best feeling?
It's the best feeling. Yeah. No, Madonna, I met and died, and when I met Cher, I died. Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah.
I've never met Cher.
That was insane.
Yeah.
I love Cher.
What does it teach you about star power? Because you have it, Kim. But I mean,
Thank you.
But you know, I think star power is something that you also grow. You have an innate charisma which others are drawn to, and a confidence that sometimes comes from trauma which others are drawn to.
Yeah.
But the actual idea of like walking in the room and shutting down the SNL after party, you got to earn that.
Yeah.
So what's it like when you see people like Cher and Madonna walk in? What does it teach you about star power?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. I think it's something that grows over time. The more secure you become about yourself, and the more that you grow into yourself. I think a lot of people just. I think it's about realizing what makes you special and what's something that only you do, and emphasizing that and really narrowing it down to this is what I do best, and this is like where I fit into everything. I think in the beginning, you know, every artist kind of starts with like emulating what they find great, the music that they like and listen to, and then trying to recreate it. And then by doing that, you start finding your own nuances and what, you know, makes you different than other people. And I think it's the people that find what makes them different and go down that track all the way that really, you know, grow presence and their own aura that just no one has. And so yeah, I think just all of those artists have that, and that's what gives you like the tingle and like what makes everyone like look when you enter the room, you know. It's just that like unexplainable aura thing.
You know, the one of the things you said in that great answer was be willing to go down that road all the way. Like in a way, that is the one thing that people can take from that answer and apply to their life. Because, you know, if you find yourself in a zone where you appreciate who you are and what you can offer, that's one thing. But you gotta hold the line, and that's where people like Madonna really shone through for a lot of generations. Is that if she believed wholeheartedly in it, no amount of pressure, whether from the public, governments, anything of that nature, would ever deviate her from that path.
For sure. Like, I mean, you have to, because like people are gonna criticize everything you do, as they should, you know, and if you don't believe in it, it's gonna tear you apart. You know, you need to make sure that everything you do, you stand behind, and I think that's the most important part of the whole gig.
But when you say as they should, that blows my mind, because that shows a level of generosity in terms of how people relate to one another, that someone who's been through the kind of childhood and the experiences and the challenges and the criticism you've been through shouldn't be exercising. It blows my mind that you still have a place in your heart for that, and that, you know, you there are different varying scales of criticism. I know you're not saying people should be rude to each other, but it blows my mind that you still have an open mind toward that, and that for some reason you don't have a gate that's pulled up on that kind of attitude more.
Yeah, I mean, look, everyone in this world gets judged, you know. So will I, and like I'm down for that, and I always want to, you know. I love reading what other people have to say about me when it comes from a genuine place of I listen to the music or I watch the performance and like here's my like true thoughts, and even if it's something negative, you know, I can learn stuff about myself. It's like when it becomes like insulting or it's, you know, that is something that I just like try to block out. But I think in general, like criticism and that stuff is something that's good. You know, I make music and I want to know what people think about it.
Yes, you do. This album, Feed the Beast, is like epic. All roads lead to this moment in time. Everything you've made up to this point leads to this moment in time, right? The skill level's higher, the collaborations are more meaningful, the relationships inside the creative space are better. Everything just flows on this album.
Thank you.
You're in a really sweet spot here, even in the uncomfortable places that you take yourself.
Thank you.
I want to talk a little bit about some of the people you work with. I mean, the Ghost Cat, the Snow Leopard, Max Martin, the person I've been trying to chase down for a conversation for about 9 years. I'll get there. So if you know any good word you can put in, I'd appreciate it. He is just this remarkable, enigmatic figure who only works with the best. So what can you tell us about that experience from your perspective of working with this pop music master?
Well, for me, I feel like I had studied his sort of philosophy of music and pop since I was a teenager.
Before you even met him?
Yeah. I remember just watching YouTube videos and interviews and anything I could find.
So do you think when you met him, you reflected him back at himself a little bit?
A little bit,
That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I just had studied him so much that I definitely like knew his philosophies and all of that stuff. And then it was really just like, once that was kind of established, it was just going in and having fun, and it was just coming up with melodies. And he's, you know, the same as me in the way that we both just like went into the booth and just like freestyled anything that came to our minds, and then we picked out the best parts together.
So it's fun with him.
Yeah, it was really, really fun. And I think that's the way you know, it should be working with, and I'm happy he hasn't like lost that fun, you know?
Yeah.
Because like someone who has done it for as long as like a Max Martin, like I was like scared it was going to be like stale or, you know, anything like that.
I think because Max only focuses on the fun parts.
Right.
Which is why I can't get hold of Max. Right?
Yeah.
you know, like it's like I hope one day when we meet and we do this, he'll walk away and go, that was fun. But I respect the fact that he has figured out that the most fun thing he can do is spend a day with you.
That would be the biggest thing in the world. I mean, it's cool because like the first thing after the Grammy when I came back down is I hugged Max Martin, and he was like, he had like a tear in his eye and he was like so happy. He's just a great guy.
That's
and
awesome.
I really would love to, you know, would recommend anyone to work with Max Martin.
I mean, you can recommend it all day, but it's not gonna get them in the room. Hey, Max, it's Zane here. Kim recommended. Hello. I think Max makes the call.
Yeah.
That's why it's so great whenever I speak to artists who've worked with him, because it is a relatively short list. I mean, you know, considering who he could work with, which is anyone in that world, hands down.
An honor.
I think that's what the gift of the present is.
Yeah.
I think without it, we would all go crazy.
For sure.
I mean, it's too big to comprehend. And so I think that's why when they say stay in the moment, stay present, stay in the moment, what they're saying is give yourself the best bet of dealing with the unknown, because it's all unknown.
Yeah. It really is like the key to everything. And it's so hard. I mean, especially if you like, there's a lot of noise in your head. And I feel like in general, like artists and like myself, like I'm always have like a million thoughts, you know.
So you have a lot of noise in your head.
Yeah, like tons of noise, and I feel like it's been so essential for me to like learn to meditate and learn to be in the moment and learn to breathe, because I can just keep going and going and going, you know.
Because anxiety and the energy it creates within your body is actually incredibly powerful fuel.
Yeah. For sure. I mean, I recently I watched a lot of stuff about like stress and positive stress and how to transform stress into being a positive thing.
Interesting.
And I've always wanted to be really, really busy. Like that's always been like my dream, you know, to have a back-to-back schedule.
You know, workaholism is also a coping mechanism.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I know for sure.
All right, I'll take that as some advice to think about.
No, I mean, but I'm more reinforcing what you're saying, which is to take the idea of stressful energy, of your desire to want to work. There's nothing wrong with wanting to work hard in a place after something that you love. It's just acknowledging that there are times you might be doing it to avoid something, and how do you then translate that into a truth? For
sure. Yeah.
You know, that's a life's work, but
yeah,
I mean, we can all find ways to distract ourselves in life.
For sure. Yeah,
you know?
it's always been like a hard thing for me to like sit down and just do nothing. Like that's just been something that's always been the hardest, but I feel like I'm forcing myself to do it too. And like you have to at some point, like you reach like that like limit, and you're like, if I don't recharge, I'm not gonna have anything to offer anyone. And so learning that, it's a process.
So you meditate?
I meditate, yeah.
I keep trying it. I
know it's really frustrating until it like clicks. Like for me, I was like always like, I've been trying for like 6 years or something, and it just like recently, in like the last year, clicked. So keep at it.
Peace. You found some peace in it.
Yeah,
that's all I want. I don't mind if you can't master it. I just want to feel like I need to be more open to it. I just feel every time I just get into a place, something shut. You know when you're just about to go to sleep, but you've got too much coffee in your system, or you're too much anxiety, or something's going on in your head, or whatever. And you're just about to go to sleep, and then you just keep waking yourself up. And you're just like, oh man, I just want to allow myself to go to sleep. It's kind of how it feels for me a little bit sometimes. Did you ever go through that with the meditation thing? It was just like,
yeah, I think that was my main thing, why it took me so long to get into it, because I was kind of like, I came here from Europe to LA. LA changed my life, but I was still like, I'm going to become an LA person and start meditating and doing yoga. And like, I was just like, so like, no, don't become that. That I was standing in like my own way.
What's the opposite of that, Kim? We're just going to go down to the bar, like, smash beers, start fights. Like,
rock and roll.
Woo!
Totally. So I was kind of torn what path I should go down. And then, and I'm glad that I overcame that.
Did you ever lose control though? Was there ever a point in your life when you felt like you were heading down an out of control path?
Yeah, for sure. I think right before like Stop Pop, there was definitely just like a lot of like substance problems for me, which I've always, had. I feel like medication and things like that for me had always been a thing, because like, again, like in my childhood, it was
put
like,
you on it. It's
what
like
if
a
you
path,
like, totally, like if you
they
take
open the
this,
gateway for you.
Totally. So it sucks, but I definitely have struggled before in my life, and I feel like it only emphasizes the bad, in the end. So I've just kind of learned my lesson over time with that.
When did you learn your lesson? What was the moment of clarity for you?
I think when I just started losing friends and just said, when I woke up and told people things that were unacceptable to me, that I treated people bad, and like people I care about. So I think that for me was like the wake up point where I was just like, oh my God, like you don't even remember like any of it, and you just keep going. And that's just like when you start not being yourself and not like living by like your own, like, this is who I am as a person, you start betraying that. I think that was my turnaround thing, where I was just like, this is just something I don't do and I don't ever want to do again.
So worth the wait, this conversation. We've spoken online and virtual and quarantines and phone calls and all kinds of things, but it's so great to meet you in person and just to be kind of weaving in and out of the music, and just, it all makes sense. It's all connected. Yeah. All of it's connected. And
it's crazy.
I think listening to this album, Feed the Beast, you're so good at creating a pop universe of bringing people in to create something that feels like pop music is just alive and moving forward, that I think some people forget about the challenges and the trauma and the things you've been through that do end up in these songs.
Yeah, they all do.
You dress them up in fancy clothes, but they are there.
Yeah. Which I love, I love fancy clothes and I love dressing stuff up.
And I love trauma.
And trauma. I love it all. Yeah, no, but that's, I think that's what pop is kind of all about. Like taking your real life and making it something that's more emphasized and more intense even than that. And so that's what I've always loved about it, that you can take the shittiest situations you've gone through and make them into something beautiful.
Pour your anxiety into it and transform it into something beautiful and positive. What happened to the album that, by the way, who rejects an album in 2022? Who does that? I mean, I'm kind of impressed. Like, who turns around to an artist and goes, not good enough? Like, it's like something from the 1990s, you know what I mean? It's just like, hey, what's up? You're going to be a big star, kid, but not with these songs. These songs are fucking trash. Back to the drawing board, kiddo.
It's kind of fire, honestly. I mean, it's like kind of some OG
It's fire now. You turned it into fire, but I mean, at the time, did you want to kill that person?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, especially just like the person who leaked it. I mean, it was just like so intensely annoying. Oops.
Why did they leak it? Why did they leak it?
I have no idea, but it's definitely like someone I know, and that's what's really annoying about it.
So you traced it back to a person?
Like, so it was just a double whammy in a lot of ways, and really stung. And that was kind of the album where I set up, like, we set up the studio in like the closet of the Airbnb we got for lockdown and did everything like me and my friends like all together like every night, just like trying to make music, trying to make something that made life have sense. And so yeah, it sucks. My fans still have the music, which is the good part, you know, like they don't feel like they got robbed of this album.
And neither do you in a weird way, I would imagine. Well, I'm telling you, I don't know. I would, how I would look at it, I don't know. Man, I'd be so bummed as well. But I think at the same time, perhaps there's a reality where you got the best thing out of it anyway, which was the camaraderie and the experience and the therapeutic elements of making something. And it may not have come out in a way that this is coming out, which is kind of perfect, but it's served its purpose, right?
For sure. And I mean, how much better is the timing of this and Feed the Beast and what happened with Unholy and all of that stuff, you know? So there's a blessing in everything. And that, you know, hoping that I'll, you know, find a way to put that out as well at some point. I think definitely taught me lessons, and writing wise, like there was some like just stuff on that I love and listen to this day. So
life is good, huh? I mean, I know it's hard, and I know it's hard because I have friends like Sam and other friends of mine who continually remind me in the most sort of generous and empathetic way that their reality is not what the headlines say, which is like in the positive magazines, it's progressive, we're moving forward. It's like, that's not what happened to me today.
Yeah.
And I know it's still really hard and unnecessarily unfair. But for you, it seems like you're in a good place now.
Thank you. Yeah. No, I feel like I am. And I feel like I just, whenever I get to really like release my music and perform it and all of that, I'm so happy. You know, I don't feel like I'm really meant to be like at home. You know, I love waking up in a different city every day.
You love to travel.
I love to travel. I love to you know, see my fans everywhere. And it's just been like, finally I'm like really fully back to it. And it sucks when like that gets pulled from you and like you don't get to release an album. But it really turned out for the better this time. So I feel that just like recharged, and as a performer I want to push myself so hard this tour and have like ideas that are just like I have to do or I'm gonna like die, you know, just like I have to make them reality. So yeah, I'm just passionate, and I feel like this Feed the Beast album really just kind of represents all the different sides to me. Kind of feels like a sum up of what we've done.
All roads led to this.
That's how I feel too. So I feel like it's like when you listen to this, you get me. And I'm excited about what's next. Like I'm already like writing and working on it. And yeah, whenever I just get to be creative and just like can shut off, I think the bolt around me, I'm very happy. And yeah, I'm excited to talk to you, and I just like love doing this.